I'm going to introduce you to y equals mx plus b, which is known as the slope-intercept form, which is not a creative name, and I'll explain why it is right away. So what happens is the parts all, this is an equation, and it's a formula, I guess, in some ways, and it's different parts stand for different things. So m is going to be the slope. The b is for a line. Is going to be the y-intercept, and only the y-intercept. We don't care about the x-intercept in this form. And then the y and the x are just the variables. So sometimes people just say that's the variables and that's that, and you could leave it like that. If you wanted, you could say that this variable is the variable on the horizontal axis. And this variable that's the variable on the vertical axis. But the most important parts are going to be, for now, that this is the slope and this is the intercept. Sometimes also we'll say that x is the independent variable. And sometimes we'll call the y1 the dependent variable. Dependent variable. Let's say we have an equation, y equals 3x plus 7. What that tells me, we know that this is the m over here, and this is the b. So the m is the slope. So the slope of this line is going to be 3, and the y-intercept is going to be 7. When we say the y-intercept is 7, what we mean is that it goes through, on the graph, it goes through 7. So the actual y-intercept is 0, 7. But then the line looks something like this. And it has a positive slope, so if I was going to do a graph, it might look something like that. It has a slope of 3, and it has a y-intercept of 7. If I had y equals 2/3 x minus 1, that means that the slope is, and the slope does not include the x, the slope is just this part over here. It's the thing that's in front of the x. This is the m. So that's the slope. So the slope is 2/3. And then the y-intercept, in this case, would be -1. Which, as I said, really means that it goes through the point 0 and -1. So that's the slope, and so from these equations we could get the slope and the y-intercept fairly straightforward. Now we can also go the other way. If we know the slope, let's say the slope is 4 and the y-intercept was 11, and I said, what is the equation? So then the equation would be, so we know that y equals mx plus b. The slope is 4. So instead of that, we write 4. And the y-intercept is 11. I should have done that in red, but so the equation would be y equals, the equation of a line that has a slope of 4 and a y-intercept of 11 is y equals 4x plus 11. And things can be negative. So let's say y equals minus 2/7 x minus 3. So in this case, the slope is, remember, the thing in front, so that's going to be, the slope is just this part over here. So the slope is -2/7, and the y-intercept is 0 and -3, or just -3. One last thing. Sometimes you may see it written like so you can have the x being part of the fraction, but that doesn't make it the slope, because another way of writing this, 4x/5, is the same thing as 4/5 times x minus 1, and we're back to the same situation where the slope is 4/5, and the y-intercept, which is the b, is -1. And that's it.